Hello and welcome to another episode of Experts Eating Cake. I'm your host, Michelle Thomas, and today I have got a bonkers woman on. I say she's bonkers because she's the kind of person that I'll go out with of an evening and we'll tell each other our life stories and all our secrets, and we'll raise the roof and we'll have a bit of a boogie. She's so much fun. But she is actually a sales expert, a strategist who actually cuts through the bull poop, and she helps business owners to sell with real confidence. I'd like to welcome my good friend, Kerry. I've done it again. I always get your name wrong when I say it. Kerry Boland. Do you know what? That's not the first time that's happened where I've said your name wrong.
No problem. I used to get called Kerry Boland all the time.
No,
so don't you worry about that.
Our Kerry.
Thank you for having me. I'm good, thank you. I'm good. How are you?
Oh, fabulous. I get to eat cake with Kerry. I mean, what's not to love? Go on, show me your cake. I'll show you mine. Ooh.
It's a split-iced finger.
Has it got anything in the middle?
Yeah, it's got cream and jam in it.
Oh, go on then. Have a bite. Have a bite. I'll show you mine.
I'm a be improved by cutting it.
No, just shove it in. Is it good?
Yeah. It's well
Is it Greg's finest?
It had to be. I had to grab it on my way home from hot yoga. It's well earned, this.
Right, I tell you what I got some gorgeous human being sent me cake, and it came this morning, and I've got a whole stack of them. Welsh cakes.
Oh.
From Wales.
They look
friend
nice.
Rebecca Lewis loves these cakes, and she says, I want to send them to you. They look like scones, but they're the Welsh cakes from Wales, specifically from
scones and scones. Are we going to have that argument?
No, it's scones.
Scones.
Shut up. They're really nice. These are soft and buttery. They're not like scones at all, or scones. There's not a lot of raisins in them though. Nice though. I've got 6 to get through.
In one day?
No.
No.
I know I eat a lot of cake, but I don't eat it all at once. Believe it or not. Anyway, you're here to talk about sales.
I am.
And I think it's particularly quite an important subject to talk about, because it's intrinsic to business, and we're speaking to business people. We're talking about how we do good things and amazing things in our business, and sales is at the crux of it, because without it you do not have a business, do you?
Absolutely not. It's the lifeblood of the business, and I always like to say that everyone is a salesperson. If you choose to be a business owner, you absolutely step into the shoes of being a salesperson.
Yeah, I think though that a lot of us are going, I don't like doing sales. I know that's what you're getting all the time, isn't it? I don't like sales. I really hate it. What can I do? What can I do? Yeah. So what do we do? Tell us, Kerry, what do we do?
Yeah, I think you've got a few different types of people. So you've got people that think sales is icky. You know, we shouldn't be asking for the sale. They're not confident in asking for that sale. A lot of it comes from belief systems, from being told that asking for money is wrong and it's dirty and all of these things. But also I think, and you know, I grew up in that era where salespeople worked in call centres. Salespeople had those headsets on and rang you and pecked your head day in, day out. And I think there's a massive misconception of sales and, you know, being icky and being dirty and being pushy. Because, you know, you have had those sleazy car salesmen, those people on the phone, relentless, telling you that you need to buy a product or service over that phone. And I think that's what, you know, a lot of business owners who come into business, generally speaking, a little bit after experiencing the work world, corporate world, wherever it may be, they've had these bad experiences, and so they carry these negatives into their business. And if you think about right underneath that business owner has started their business to help people. And that's what I try and get across to people, that selling isn't dirty, it's not icky, it's not hard, it's not scary. It is just having a human being, communication, conversation, and building rapport. And I try and teach that so much, because if you can remove it's a sale out of it and actually just have a conversation and figure out whether or not you can help this person, it takes it down a different path.
It absolutely does. And it's one of the things that I always think of. I'm not really selling, I'm having conversations with people and allowing people to come into my world and experience the kind of things that I've got to offer as well. But I have worked with you. So, if I came away with anything other than that, then I think you'd have been very disappointed in me. So I was a student, and I probably still am, of yours. So, yeah, I totally get where you're coming from, and I totally understand that. But I think other than that, there's so many different ways of approaching it as well. And I think we're moving very much away from the scripted, you have to do this, you have to follow this process, to a more fluid, a more natural, a more authentic way of being, because people are seeing through the sales. And I think that's probably why, they're saying, I don't want to do that, that's icky. They're thinking that that's still the only way to do it. But I think they're seeing through that. They're understanding what's happening to them when there is a sales environment, and they want to move away from that because they know that there is genuine connection in there. So I want you to tell me how you actually got into sales and what it is that you specifically do.
Okay, so I got into sales straight from leaving school. So I literally worked in a bank. I was 17 when I started training other people, just had the gift of the gab. So I was training other people. Yeah, 18 years, 19 years ago, a long time ago. So yeah, I've been in sales for a very, very long time, worked my way up through multiple corporate organizations. And I came into the online space predominantly to originally help female entrepreneurs. I have sort of diversified the business, and it is more inclusive now. But I came into the online space to help women specifically at the time to have the confidence to sell, to be able to get their services out there. Because like I said before, when we start our businesses as entrepreneurs, it comes from a place of passion. It comes from a place of desire, of wanting to help people. And sales is a thing that holds people back. And I think that's why a lot of businesses start and then fail, start and then close, start and then give up, start and pivot, and and they think it doesn't work. But actually all it is a case of they've just not mastered their way of selling yet. And I think you hit the nail on the head there, where you talked about moving away from scripting, moving away from these other people's strategies. And I think that's where I try and differentiate myself in terms of I'll teach you lots of different ways, I'll give you lots of hypothetical examples, different ways in which you can use language, you can listen, you can speak to your ideal client, and then figure out what works for you and create your own blueprint. Not my blueprint or Margaret's blueprint down the road. It's about your blueprint and how you show up for your client, what your customer experience needs to look like and feel like and sound like. And I think that's where I try and differentiate myself, that it's not just me teaching you my method. I will give you some frameworks, because I think frameworks are really, really great in terms of having a bit of structure, but then putting your own wraparound to that structure. It's my way or the highway. It's this structure really works when you're in a communication, when you're building rapport, when you're going in for the close, when you're going in for objection handling. However, insert you, insert human, insert service, insert who you are as a person, not who I am. And I think that's really, really important. And I think that's where people fall down. They go out, they buy a course, they say it's shit, and actually it's because the blueprint doesn't work for their business. So then they jump to the next course. And I'm trying to stop that. I want my course to be the last one that they need to take, and then it's implementation support, refining and tweaking.
Yeah. And I think the same can be said of any kind of learning experience. I think it comes to a point where ultimately the very basics and the foundations are always going to be the same, because it's based around confidence, it's based around communication, it's based around having an offer and inviting people to actually come and buy what you're offering because you absolutely love what it is that you do. So anybody else that you go to, you're going to get the very basic foundations, and ultimately everything else, like you said, is the sprinkles on top. One of the best things that ever came from you, and it's literally on my board. I wish I could turn my computer around, but it's a great big massive computer. It's not a laptop or a phone. And I printed it off because I loved it so much. The growth coach, top 3 tips. I'm going to say it now, and then you can use those tips to actually expand on it a little bit. So I'm giving you a bit of a segue into this, right?
I can't imagine what these ones are. Let's go.
Well, I love it so much. It's 3 things. So you put set and track targets, create so much value they can't say no, and be more you. And I literally have it right next to my desk. And every time I think about what it is that I'm doing in my business, how I'm growing it, how I'm making money, how I'm expanding, how I'm giving value to the world, that's what I look back to make sure that I'm following those 3 steps every single time that happens. And it does make a massive difference. So go on, tell us about how those 3 work.
So I think setting and tracking targets, obviously I come from the corporate world, and you come into the online space and you mention KPIs, and a new entrepreneur will go, what? KPIs, what are they? Like, why would I need to utilize them? But actually, if you don't know where you're going and you don't know where you're heading and you don't know what the target is, how many sales you want to make, then you're basically plugging away at nothing. You don't know when you've achieved it, you don't know when you've reached your goal, you're not celebrating it. So actually, having something to work towards and then working back. So, okay, if you want to make 10 sales, yeah, how many conversations do you need to be having per day, per week, per month in order to convert to those 10 sales? So if we take a hypothetical example, if I had 60 calls and our 60 conversations, 15 calls, and I wanted a 50% conversion rate, I know I'd get 7 or 8 people, yeah? But 50% conversion rate, dependent on what you're selling, is quite high. So if you're selling a program,
you would already know that because it's a proven method, because you've tracked your numbers for long enough to be able to see the patterns in how it actually comes across and how you actually do when it comes to these specific tasks.
Yeah. And that's why it's important. So you'll probably remember I have the daily high value tasks or the daily success list, whatever you want to call it. Something that you do day in, day out, sales first mentality. Before you do anything else in your business, how are you generating more sales today, more sales opportunities, more leads that then become prospects? And it's that difference between a lead and a prospect as well. They're not all prospects at the lead phase. Somebody might come into your funnel, but they're not actually warm until you've taken them through, had a conversation, built that genuine connection and rapport, and then reached that opportunity stage. So unless you're topping that up every day and you're doing your daily success list and you're working towards KPIs, tracking conversations, tracking conversions, tracking how many sales you're making off the back of that, if you're not doing those things and you're not working towards anything, you're going to get frustrated. You're going to feel overwhelmed. You're going to feel like giving up because you're not going to know what specifically you're working towards. So I think that is like the key. And I think when I teach sales strategy, people think it's dead hard to achieve 5K months, 10K months, 20K months. But actually, if they actually figured out what the goal is first and then worked it back, okay, how many of those products and services do I need to sell? What do I need to sell there? It's actually not that scary of a number. It's just having that focus and that consistency with your KPIs and tracking to get there. And I think that's what people are missing.
Yeah, and I think also understanding what that end looks like and being able to track that backwards or reverse engineer it means that you approach what you do on a day-to-day basis in a completely different way. When you understand where you need to go, it's like, well, instead of doing this, which is not a high value task, today I will do this instead, because that means I'm more likely to actually get to the goal that I'm trying to reach, or to make the amount of money that I'm trying to reach. And the amount of energy that you put into it is completely different. Anyway, it really does switch something in your brain when you start tracking your numbers.
Intentional action.
That's the one.
Intentional
Intentional action.
all the time.
One of the things that I do, and you know this about me, because I have a baby ballet franchise business that I've been running for the last 12 years, and for me, it's literally three columns every week. I track how many people I've got in terms of customers, and I've got two different types of customers. So that one is the trial. How's your cake? So one's the trial customer, one's the membership customer, the member customer. So trial is, they're only there for a specified amount of time, and they're the ones that need conversion. And then there's the ones that are members, and I have a good idea of how many people are coming in and out of the membership as well. And then the third column is literally, the total amount of paying customers. I don't actually track anything other than that, because over the years I've found that those are the only numbers that actually matter. And when I see it there in front of me, I can see week on week how my business is actually growing, and the decisions I make from there on in are a lot better. Do I put new classes on? Do I amalgamate classes? Where can I make more profit? What do I have to sell more of? Where do I advertise? And it brings up very strategic questions which need very strategic answers and really good decisions. And I can only make that because I know what it is that I'm working towards, because I've got those three little numbers every week, and it takes me minutes to figure out what they are.
Absolutely. And I think, going back to, tracking lead, tracking prospects, that kind of thing, there are ways in which you can automate it. So one of the things that I do in my business, so as you know, I've got multiple different freebies that I might advertise on socials, they're on my website, or whatever it is that I'm running. And I've created an automation that puts people into a pipeline so that when they download that freebie, I get a task created for my team. I get they go into the pipeline as an opportunity, and they're at the very beginning of the pipeline. And then I've got different stages of the pipeline, and as we work that lead, turn them into a prospect or get rid of them, they move through that pipeline. But actually, all I have to do is come into my system on the morning, and I can see what new leads I've got in. So there's lots of different ways to do it. But I think, going back to basics right at the beginning, the only really important thing to track are your numbers. Your numbers of leads, your numbers of where it's come from, looking at that customer journey. We covered this actually in the mastermind this morning, where, you have multiple different customer journeys dependent on where you've met that person, where that person's come across you. And I think that leads us nicely on into in fact, that's the third one, the being more you. But where that person's come across you and where they've come into your world, you can then track and go, okay, where can I double down on that particular customer experience, that customer journey, that cycle, or whatever it is. And I think that is really important. So when you're tracking your KPIs, you can look at what's working and what's not, ditch the shit that's not working, and crack on and double down on the stuff that is working for you.
Yeah.
But without tracking,
collapsing time. You collapse in time then. You're doing things that make a difference, as opposed to running around chasing your tail all the time.
Yeah.
Which
absolutely.
is something
and reducing that overwhelm.
Yeah. And the other one was create so much value they can't say no. I think that's a really good one.
I love creating a value stack. So one of the things that I don't promote, and very often, is discounting your services. Because I think what you end up doing is really undervaluing yourself, your service, and your offer. Actually add so much value that they can't say no. So how can you create that value ladder? What can you throw in that you've already maybe created that is a no-brainer, that makes them go, oh, what is it that just tips it over the edge for them, that makes it an absolute no-brainer? And one thing I always say is, people don't buy the journey, They don't give a shit that they're going to meet you every week for an hour and they're going to get this workbook and that they're going to do this. They want to know where they're going to be at the end. What's their return on investment? What is the outcome that they're going to get? What does life look like, feel like, sound like? What does the money in the bank look like for them at the end of it?
And how quickly and easily they can get there.
Absolutely. Yeah. People care about the ROI. And I think just touching on that, how quickly that people can get there, I think a lot of people get sold the dream. Mm-hmm. Come and work with me and you can get 10k months in your first 30 days. Actually, build the foundations first. So what we talked about there, the KPIs, the structure of the business. What does the business model look like? What does the service stack look like? What does it look like in order to work with me? What are my values? What are my vision? What's my messaging? What is my purpose? What's my why? And these are the bits people skip. They go and do a course, learn to become a coach or whatever they want to do, create a logo on Canva and off they trot, and then they wonder why it doesn't work. So foundations first. Don't build a business on a bed of sand because it'll collapse. Yeah. And then, so don't buy quick wins. Yeah? Buy sustainable, steady income that's going to be continuously
I think a lot of us are getting sucked in by the big wins, but we're starting to understand that they are not the way to go with business.
Because it's marketing. It's great marketing. I can get you to this, but in actual essence is that it's very unlikely that everyone will get there. Depends on the products. It depends on the person, the confidence, their ability, the money that they've got to invest, all of these things. Yeah, you might be able to get to 50k months, 10k months, 5k months immediately. Have you got a budget? Have you got a marketing team? Have you got money for paid ads? All those things. Probably not. Okay, let's build this properly.
Let's go down a couple of notches then. Yeah, that's always the way
to come up. And that's one thing that I will not bullshit people on.
Yeah.
If you want a sustainable business that'll still be here, you're building a business for longevity and you want to still be here in 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, come and work with me. If you want a quick win where you make 10 grand for the first 2 months and then you fall flat on your face because you haven't even actually got a clue how you got there, go and work with someone else.
Yep. I totally agree with you. And this is why I work with you, Kerry. Because I know you know your onions, and I understand when you know your onions, and I know go off, trot off and do things. I mean, one of the other things is you're talking about value stack. Value stack is making offers that people salivate over because it really hits the spot for them. Yeah. And I think a lot of that is to do with this. Listening. You're listening to what they want and you're creating things to make sure that you hit every single part of what they want, and it makes it absolutely irresistible. And it sounds like it could be manipulative, but on the other side of it, it really isn't, because you are literally giving them what they want, and that's the kind of relationship you want. There's no point giving somebody something that they don't want. They're never going to appreciate it. But if it's something that changes their lives, which effectively is what we're doing, then that makes a big, massive difference.
Yeah. And in order to do that and give someone what they want and know what your audience wants, you need to do your market research. Mm-hmm. I think that is one of the keys. Listen out. Like you said, listen for what people are saying, what people are wanting, all of those things. Can you hear my dog barking, or is that not picking up? Good.
No. We're good.
Good.
At least your dog's not pooing like it did that time that you called me. Oh, Christ on about. Your dog is a law unto itself. Anyway, moving on. Right, so we've covered the basics, and I gave you some really good threw back the ball, I think, for you, because you sent it to me and I've sent it right back to you. I want to find out what are the common misconceptions that people have about sales that you're like, nah, hang on, let me tell you about this.
Yeah, I think some of the misconceptions is that it's hard, first of all, and it absolutely isn't hard. Like I said at the beginning, you're just having a conversation. You're just being a person. You're being a human being. I think that's one of the biggest things. A lot of people say it's hard. I can't sell. I don't have the confidence. When I worked in corporate, I trained salespeople, account managers, engineers, service desk people, customer service, no matter what touch point you're having with a client, whether it's a complaint, whether it's customer service, whether it's anything, you are selling. Even when you're telling someone about your business, you're introducing yourself at a networking event, you're selling. You're selling yourself. You might not just be asking for the sale and the money at that point, but you are selling all of the time. So by talking about your business and how you help people, what you do, why you're unique, why not Joe Blogs down the road, and why you're selling. So if you can learn to sell yourself, you can then learn to sell the services. And I think one of the things that we do at networking, actually, and I love doing this, is so many people struggle to sell themselves. And whether that comes from confidence, belief, whatever that may be, you might have been told sit down, shut up, all of those things as a child. But one of the things that I love doing is that because I know that you could big me up, or somebody next to each other will big each other up, one of the games that we play is, okay, I want you to find out these things about one another, and I want you to tell the rest of the group about the person next to you. And all of a sudden they light up. And what that shows is great listening skills. The fact that they can do it because they're like, well, I've just sold her. Okay, so now how do we get you selling yourself? Yeah. And I think this is one of the things that I like to cover as in the business mastery. One of the things that I cover in the beginning is about you, the business owner. And we talked on that before, like be more you.
Yeah.
And I think, don't be like the person that you're comparing yourself to. How do we bring you into your brand? And that's one of the things that I cover right at the beginning of the foundational work of the course. And, it brings a lot up for people. It brings these beliefs up. It brings sadness up sometimes. It also brings the aha golden nugget moments where they go, I'm frigging amazing. And that's the work that people need to do, because they prove to themselves in that moment that they can sell someone else's services, so why not sell their own? And that's where I sort of see the penny drop, because they have got the skills to do it. They're just not confident in themselves, and so we pull that out of them. And I love that. I love those aha moments.
It's like it's that show, stick in the mirror and saying, there you go.
Yeah,
that's what
absolutely.
I can see.
Yeah, but it's holding the hand to do that and just giving them the confidence, almost a bit of trickery to show them that they can do it. Yeah. And then watching the light bulb go off like, oh, so this is selling. Yeah, it's not getting on the phone, do you want to buy me thing, cold calling, cold DMs, all of those things. It's building relationships, it's building genuine connection, rapport, and then identifying if there's an opportunity there or not.
And also looking about how, as an individual, you like being sold to, how Absolutely. You buy, knowing how you buy and what you're comfortable with, and putting yourself on the other side of that table and doing that for somebody else is doing them a great service as well, because that if you feel comfortable doing that, then whatever you're doing in the same way is allowing somebody else to feel comfortable about buying from you as well. And I think it makes a lot of difference to our own psychology and self-awareness and sense of self, because that can give you the confidence because it feels okay.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. And I think it's really important, like you mentioned there, to look at how you buy, also how other people have come in. And one of the things as an NLP practitioner that I teach people to do is listen to the language. What kind of language are they using? What's the body language look like? Do they prefer to click to buy? Do they prefer to have a phone call? So many people are trying to teach now, don't get on a call with people. Just selling the DMs, get people to click. Why? We're frigging human beings. When did we stop being human beings? And that's the thing that, again, if you want to just sell in the DMs and you never want to have a conversation, then I am not the person for you, because where do we interject that human being into that conversation, into that sale? And I did a session on this last week for a group of franchisees, and they were all relying on automation. Now, automation's great to nurture, to send the emails, whatever, but at what point do we then interject the human being back into that sales process? And that's what I like to look at as well.
And I think, don't move so far away from human connection that you don't feel like you can go back there again. Right. Okay. So there's some real misconceptions about selling. And I know that you use a lot of the key buzzwords that we use around selling. But ultimately, when somebody comes and works with you, they get to understand what's behind those buzzwords, what's the reality of it, what those actually mean, what that means in your business. This is something that you do in your business mastery. Do you want to tell us about how somebody could work with you in terms of business mastery?
Yeah, absolutely. So the Business Mastery is a hybrid course. So it's 12 modules covering everything from the foundations right through to your ideal client, your market research, really understanding you, your purpose, your why, and then creating services based on conversations with people, based on what they need to create out your offer stack. Now, one of the things that I don't promote is only having high ticket or only having low ticket. I like to help people to build a model that will create monthly recurring revenue, because there's nothing worse than starting at zero every month and wondering where your next sale's coming from. So that's one of the things that I help people to do, to really get in tune with the way that they work, the way in which they would like to sell, how many sales that they want to achieve. We look at strategizing, we look at social media, we look at marketing, we look at everything holistically as a whole, create those foundations, and then they have 6 months of support from me bi-weekly in the form of hot seat coaching Q&A, where they can turn up every other week, ask me questions that they need. They have a community that they can post in at any point, and they get to grow their business and implement everything that they've learned in the program for 6 months with me by their side. And I think that's one of the key things that is missing for people. They get left to do a course, there's no follow-up, there's no care, there's no one being looked after. They bring in extra coaches. That's not actually the coach that's decided to, sell or make the thing in the first place. And it becomes disjointed and it becomes disconnected. And that's not who I am or what I want to promote. And so you come in, you get the hybrid model, you go and learn, you do the learnings, you come and ask the questions, you utilize the community, and you get that 6 months implementation support, the focus, the drive, the get shit done, so that at the end of it, you are achieving those 5K months, 10K months, 20K months, whatever your goal is, so that that's sustainable and you'll be here in 5 years' time, bigger and better, because you've done this groundwork.
Yeah.
So that's business mastery, and I love it.
Kerry, you are the person to go to if somebody is a bit reticent about sales and building their business, and they need a kick up the bum and a poke in the eye, because that's exactly what
or a cuddle. I can give the occasional nice cuddle, but I am very kick up your ass, or I'll give you a nice loving cuddle if you need it.
Yeah, definitely. And one of the things is I find myself quite often, it's like, oh no, I'm going against everything that Kerry's ever said. If I say anything to her, she's going to think that I'm not doing my work. But I absolutely am. But I think you're open enough to take on board any concerns or any different ideas that people have, because you're learning along the way as well. Mm-hmm. You're learning what your 100%. Client does and how they work and everything else, and you take that in, and then you're able to then help them to navigate through that and pull the best out of themselves in that respect. Absolutely. So you don't want them to do things that they don't want to do, because the chances of them doing it is very minimal. You want them to do the things that they really enjoy doing, and doing it and making sure that fits in with their whole strategy of making sure that they're putting their business out there and telling people about it and being excited about it, and making sure that they deliver in only the way that they can. And I've had first-hand experience of this. It was quite a while back.
I think I always say I don't want mini-me's. I don't want my little minions. Like, we're all on an even keel here. Yeah. And that's what the Growth Coaching Collective is about. It's about we all succeed together. So like you said, getting to know someone, how I get the best out of somebody, and how I can then better support them to actually achieve their goals in their way. And that's why it's not a blueprint, and it's not it's a support mechanism. It's a what about this? It's a thinking about different ways. It's a framework that you can then deviate to then go and create your own thing. So
I think what we'll do is we'll pop all the details of your business mastery and a couple of other links to be able to connect with you. If somebody's watching this and they're really interested in investing in finding how to create their own foundations for selling in their business, because it's like you said right at the beginning, it's the lifeblood of your business. You know, if you've got no sales and no money coming into the business, how the heck are you going to grow your business? But doing it in such a way that it feels comfortable, you feel confident, you grow with your business as well, is an absolutely key area to invest in. And it is one of the reasons that I invested in you as well. And if anybody wants to find out more about that, you can click the link below. The Business Mastery is a really great hybrid course. So you get a little bit of Kerry, but you get a lot of the knowledge as well with it. And, you know, she's there for you to answer questions and make sure that you're on the right track and that you're not stuck in overwhelm or anything like that. That's it. It's a great offer. I would highly recommend at least having a chat with Kerry and finding out whether it's something that's right for you. But I would say that it's right for a heck of a lot of business people. And you have to know that Kerry is totally mental. She doesn't sound like it today because she's got an expert head on, but she is a party girl. We've been out partying. We've been out having a couple of drinks. Yeah, we had a great time over Christmas. And she does like cake. She likes weird stuff like really cold showers and hot yoga. It's like, not for me. Thank you.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. Lake dipping, yoga, meditation. That's not weird. I like that. And then I like to rave in Ibiza and go to raves and parties. So I'm a bit of both, yin yang. Got to keep it balanced, right?
I thought you'd be really good at teaching people how to twerk. You can do it. You're brilliant at it, but you can't teach for toffee.
Because I've got a big ass, it just wobbles.
Well, when you've got flat as a pancake backside, it don't do nothing. And my front bit wobbles rather than the back bit.
Oh, for God's sake, Michelle.
I'm very front padded, not back padded. That's all in the front. Anyway, got one more question for you.
Mm-hmm.
What are you most scared of?
Failure.
What does that mean? What does that mean? Failure for what?
Not achieving what I know I'm capable of. I think it's always been one of my fears. And I think it actually comes from childhood. And without meaning to, my dad used to say, nobody remembers second place. Now, I know that came from a place of love and a place of me, him being able to see my abilities and my capabilities. But actually, it put the fear of God in me. And now, sometimes it does make you second guess yourself. It can hold you back at times, but it's having those coping mechanisms to learn to go, actually, I'm not going to listen to that inner voice today, and I'm going to move anyway. And I think one of the hugest things for me is that personal development side. And, before I came into this business, my background, I started this business because I'm a survivor of domestic abuse, and I wanted to show people that it is possible to achieve success no matter what you've faced. And I think I've proven that. That now, and I'm going to keep proving that. And I think now, because I can see it the other side of my depression and the other side of my abuse, that actually, yes, failure happens, but do I use it to drive me or allow it to hold me back? So even though it's still a fear and it's still there somewhere, I now use it to drive me. So I'll fail forward and I'll continue to fail forward, because we all fail. But is it a lesson or a blessing? Or are we going to let it stop us? And it's never going to stop me. So, I hope that answers your question.
You're good, empowerment.
Amazing.
Have you finished that cake yet? It looked massive.
I've not, but I do need to go and pick my nephew up.
All right then. Well, I'll let you get off. It was brilliant seeing you again. I'll see you very soon anyway, in another few weeks.
You will.
Everything to do with Business Mastery, everything to do with connecting with Kerry and finding out exactly what she's got up her sleeve with regards to the Growth Coaching Collective. You've got so many things on the go. You've got masterminds, and you've got networking, and you've got Business Mastery, and the whole kit and caboodle. You can find out by clicking on the links in the description. And just get in touch with Kerry. You'll have a right laugh. You'll find out things about her that you really didn't want to know.
Don't you?
And if you want somebody to teach you how to twerk, please don't go to Kerry. I'll see you later. You enjoy your cake. See you later. Love you. That was the oh, my words are not coming out right. The amazing Kerry Boland. I swear she needs to change her name. It always causes me a problem. So talking about sales and sales strategy and being your best self and bringing yourself to the table so that you can make sure that your whole business is sustained by you, by the creator of your business, is something that I am collaborating with an amazing woman on to bring a fabulous event in Manchester on the 8th of May. It's called Crazy Money Map, and I'm doing it with Manisha Patel. She's from Scaling to PMO, and what she does is she helps people do a thing called Project Management Office, which is learning how to create projects and manage your time in such a way that it actually works with you rather than against you. So she's got loads and loads of techniques that she uses, and finding the right kind of technique, because each one has its pros and cons and its benefits, actually means that you can start mapping out how you work best and using that to your highest potential. And the crazy money side of things is where I'm collaborating. I'm going to be turning up to this event with bells on and whistles on, and we're going to be learning how your brain works, how your crazy ass brain works in this world, and why you are a square peg trying to fit into a round hole and it's absolutely not working. And we're going to turn things around and make sure that you bring your superpowers to the table, turn everything around and make sure that you are working as authentically as you possibly can, so that you can start to make money more strategically in your business in ways that actually work for you. Now, it's not just an in-person day, because I know that you go to these days, you have a great time, you learn things, you go home, and then it kind of like flies out the window. What we're going to be doing then is offering every single person that turns up to the event the chance to sit down for an hour with me to work out exactly how your brain works and what your money and offers are around your business. And then you're going to work with Manisha to create a map of how you use your time and your energy to its best advantage to make sure that you can repeat the way that you sell, because ultimately that's what it comes down to, in such a way that it feels good to you. Now, this is a collaboration event. It's happening on the 8th of May in central Manchester. It's going to be such a fun day, because I'm not going to it if it's not going to be fun. And at the moment, we've got an early bird on until the middle of March. £199 for a day and 2 coaching sessions to make sure that you come out of it with a really solid plan of how you can work as an individual, bring your crazy and make some money in your business. Now, if you're up for that, all you need to do is drop me a message or click on the link below, and we will look forward to welcoming you and bringing cake and eating cake. Not that one, though. And lots of sweeties as well, because we need sweeties for brain food on the 8th of May. So hopefully I'll see you there.